What's going on, y'all? So today's a very interesting day. I sold my very first car at a $40,000 loss. So for those of you that don't know, I bought a Tesla Model 3 back in 2022, May of 2022. I made a pickup vlog on it. And honestly, at this point in my journey, it's kind of taught me a lot. I didn't really care too much about the loss of the car because at the end of the day, it's like, what can I do? The car depreciated so much from the time that I bought it. And back when I did get it, they were holding value very well. And obviously the market took a pretty big hit there and, things took a turn for the worse. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just pay off the remainder of the finance and just sell the car. And there's a couple different things that I've come to realize a little bit more from a mental perspective, taking this hit. And once again, it wasn't something that I cared tremendously about. Just because you win some, you lose some, and you go through these situations where at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it, and you kind of just have to take the loss to the chin and just deal with it. What up, bro? So yeah, I mean, that being said, in a position where I'm like, you know what, let me just get rid of it. I'm not using it. It needs new tires. More money has to be invested into it. And from a business perspective, these type of things shape you to take the losses to the chin, move forward, and just take on more wins. Things have to be a little bit more thought through, and certain risks have to be managed prior to making certain decisions. And at the time, mind you, like, this is a milestone. This is something that we're congratulated for doing, especially at a young age, buying your first car. And it's a car that's considered somewhat of a luxury vehicle. It's an EV, and it seems to have a lot of upside to it. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I love the car, the whole EV thing and whatever. I love that. I'm gonna buy another EV at some point here soon. However, moving forward, I'm gonna do a little bit more market research into what possibilities there are as far as certain markets taking hits. And when it comes to finances, everything in my mind is thought through from a business perspective. So when it comes down to my ability to manage risk and assess risk, everything has to be thought through from a business perspective more so than an emotional perspective. So once again, when I got this vehicle, everybody's congratulating me. And to me, at the time, it was an accomplishment. But after buying my second car, I'm getting my second car at a good price, a price that I could probably sell at a profit right now. I've come to understand that these milestones and these sort of things that, like, I would say average people glorify and glamorize aren't all glamorous after all. Like, at the end of the day, these things don't really matter. Now, I don't know if I want to consider myself a car enthusiast, but I do love cars. And it is somewhat of my guilty pleasure. But at the end of the day, these shouldn't necessarily be seen as the biggest accomplishments. The same way that I see getting your high school diploma, like, it's not an accomplishment, right? Like, you go take out a $50,000, $60,000 loan to go buy a car, and a large majority of people that do that can't even afford to make the monthly payments. Can't even afford to pay their own insurance, can't even afford to pay the gas, or to just maintain those vehicles. So on average, when we look at the world for what it is, the wrong things are glamorized and glorified to make you feel like you're doing something. At the end of the day, it just comes down to perceived value. What value do you put on these vehicles? How much money does it actually cost these companies to even make these cars, right? And that's when you start to realize how achievable a lot of these things are and how much of a waste of money it is to really just go out there and do things based off of how you feel you may be perceived by others. Now, I wasn't getting this car at the time to make people think anything of me. I was getting it at the time because I thought it was a good bargain considering it was holding value. Once again, I took a tough loss on it, and it is what it is. But it's taught me to appreciate things for what they are and not how people may perceive it. And I think the biggest thing in today's day and age is when you're doing something that seems somewhat of an accomplishment to outsiders looking in, it's going to consistently put you in a situation, in a mindset where you feel like you're doing better than other people. But at the end of the day, and I talk about this very often, you can't be competing with other people. You got to allow yourself to set your own milestones and set your own achievements for what they are. And now I see buying cars as somewhat of a trophy for me, like I said, it's my guilty pleasure. And it is an item that I personally feel good about buying because they're things that I enjoy. And because I enjoy these things, it allows me to hold them and use them as a trophy. As where for other people, it's based on perspective and how these items might make them look. I'm not gonna make $250,000 and then go buy a $250,000 car because I wanna look like I'm rich. If I'm going out and I'm buying a $250,000 car, I'm buying it because I feel as if I've done the necessary to deserve it, and I want to hold that item as a trophy for myself and not for how others see me. When you do things in life, set your milestones and set your achievements, set your trophies as achievements that you want for yourself and that will allow you to view yourself how you want to view yourself and not how other people will view you. Like for example, I bought a Rolex, when was it, last year, the year before? And yeah, the year before. And I did this, mind you, I'm not a big watch enthusiast and I'm not heavily into it. I did this as one, a trophy to myself, and two, it's an investment because I know it holds value and I know that they're proven to appreciate over time. That's the only reason I ended up doing it. I didn't do it for any other reason. I don't care how people see me because I have a certain watch. I don't care how people see me because I drive a certain car. It's about me and myself and what I want for myself. I'm willing to invest to buying the car that I want because on a day-to-day basis, when I get up and I place myself behind the wheel, it is a constant reminder that I have to keep working in order to be able to maintain these things. I have to keep working in order to accomplish more things that I want for myself. And as much as these things are a waste of money, you guys have to understand these items, these materialistic things are not the things that you should be chasing. I chase success. I chase growth. I chase constant improvement, not for myself, but for the business and for what I do, which is why I've learned to understand over the years that the money that's in the account isn't the money that's mine. This is the money that I can leverage to continue to improve, to continue to grow. And I would not put anything on the line for my own pleasure, ever. And you guys have to be able to put yourself in this position where you are willing to hold off on doing certain things in order to allow yourself to grow. If I wanted to, I could go out and buy the Lamborghini. If I wanted to, I could go out and buy the McLaren that I want. It's not a matter of a financial ability to do it. It's a matter of what will that do for you in the short term? And in the short term, personally, I would not get any sort of pleasure from going out and spending that kind of money on a car. I'm personally in a financial position to be able to do it. However, I would prefer to leverage the finances that I have to put myself in a much better position, to set up a much better foundation for myself, to set up a much better foundation for our company and for the people that are working with me within the company. So you guys have to allow yourself to understand when you're gonna have the ability to do these things. A lot of guys start a business and honestly, I guess I could say I'm a victim of this too, because I did this when I first started ecom. I set a financial goal based on a materialistic achievement in which I completely ended up forgetting about. But a lot of guys will start the business with the objective to make money, to go out and buy a certain vehicle, to go out and buy a certain house, or to put themselves in a certain position. When you start making that money, you'll realize that those things are very minimal in comparison to your potential. And you'll start to realize that these things are literally just a waste. These things are literally just for perception on how people will view you. These things won't put you in the position that you want to be in. So when I started ecom, I believe it was a 2014 C300 or 2012 C3. Honestly, I don't even remember. It's either 2014, 2012, or 2008. I know honestly, it was probably 2008 looking back at it. I don't know how many kilometers there were on the dash, but the car was $8,000, kind of ripped up, torn apart to a certain extent. But that was my goal. That's what I wanted. And as I started to make more and more money, I started to realize that it was stupid for me to go out and do this. Go out and spend everything that I just worked on to just throw that money in the garbage on a fucking half-assed vehicle that I just felt like I was settling for. It seemed like something achievable and something that would give me some sense of gratification and dopamine rush because I was able to accomplish that. And when I started to achieve and break these boundaries and started to realize how achievable these certain things were, I realized that I'm settling, bro. Like, why the fuck am I gonna settle for a fucking $8,000 C300? Like, who cares, bro? When there's so much more to life than to just go out and fucking waste money on shit that you don't need. So that being said, my headspace right now and where I'm at is a position for constant growth to the point that I can buy as many of these trophies as I want without it affecting me in any way. And personally, I'm not there yet. Personally, I see so much more potential with the money that I have in the bank right now to invest in other places that will set up a much stronger foundation for myself, for our business, for the people that are working together to try and scale, to try and grow. Like, I'd rather just allocate these funds in much better places. Like, I don't know, I've accomplished a lot in such a short period of time looking back, to the point where these things aren't really monumental to me. And obviously, like, when I do get them, because I will, I'm gonna be excited about it, but I understand that the vision and the goal is much bigger than these materialistic objects, these cars and vacations. Like, the goal is much bigger than that. And so for those of you out there that are getting into business and are trying to run something to generate income, for you guys that are setting goals that are based off materialistic objects, I'm not saying don't do that, but allow these things to be trophies and allow these things to be milestones that you reach without putting anything in jeopardy. Understand that these things aren't going to propel you forward in life. They're solely just objects that display success to yourself. Don't do it for other people, do it for you. A lot of people, especially men in today's day and age, care about how people view them, which is why they go out and they jeopardize their finances on things that they could barely afford. Because you have $250,000 doesn't mean you have $200,000 to go spend on a car. You have to learn to understand at what point you can do what things, and you have to learn to understand what the bigger picture is. All these things that you guys want will come. Understand how to get yourself there to the point where you can buy as many of it as you want without it affecting you in any way. So that's gonna be the lesson of today's video. I don't know how I reached this point talking about my 40K loss on the Tesla, but honestly, I'm glad that car is out of my hands. Shit. And this will bring me to the, who's calling me? This will bring me to the end of the video. And with that being said, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, Telegram link is in the description down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.